Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to make gallo pinto. It is Central American rice and beans. This recipe is commonly found in Costa Rica and Nicaragua. Rice and beans is very prevalent throughout Central America, and this is a recipe that's more common to that area. We are going to use 3 tablespoons of, I use light tasting olive oil. You can use any kind of oil that doesn't have flavor, like canola oil or vegetable oil. Salsa Lisano, 1 tablespoon. That is a little bit hard to find in the United States depending on where you live. I live in Minnesota and there isn't a big Costa Rican population here, so it is harder to find. If you're in larger cities though, it's easier to find, or places that have more of a Central American population, then it's a little bit easier to find. Otherwise, you can use Worcester sauce, or at a Latino store, Worcester sauce is called salsa inglesa, and you can use that as well. Again, that's 1 tablespoon of that. And then you can use your own black beans if you boil beans. Otherwise, you can use 1 can. It's a 15-ounce can. If you're using your own beans, I would use about 1.5 cups. Once you get used to making it, you can just throw together whatever. It doesn't have to be exact measurements. I just always like to start a recipe with exact measurements. In fact, when I first started making this, I used a recipe I found from Emeril Lagasse, so I'll link that recipe that I started off using, just because I feel like it's easier to start out with exact measurements. So I started with that, and now I just kind of eyeball it. And then 2 tablespoons of onions, 2 tablespoons of green pepper. Again, I might not have exact measurements there. And then 2.5 cups of white rice. I made this rice with some seasoning in it, so it looks a little orange, but you can season the rice ahead of time, or you don't need to because there's a lot of seasoning in the beans. So if I have rice to use up is a lot of the time that I'll make this. So we're gonna get started with letting the oil heat up. Again, it's 3 tablespoons of oil. And then to the oil, we are going to add our 2 tablespoons of onion, 2 tablespoons of green pepper, and we're going to let that cook for about 2 minutes. So now our onions and green peppers have been cooking for a couple minutes until they're a little softened. And after that, we are going to add 1 can of beans. Oh, I got them all out of there. And then 1 tablespoon, or sometimes I even add more because it's really good, of the salsa Lisano. And then we'll mix that. And we want to keep, one thing to note, a lot of recipes that you use a can of beans for ask you to drain and rinse the beans. You do not want to do that with this recipe. We want the juice in there. So we're going to cook this for about 10 minutes, maybe more, until the juice from the beans thickens. And same if you're using your own beans that you boiled yourself, you are going to keep liquid in there. So you'll just, grab a scoop out, beans, liquid and all, because you do want to have liquid in there. So it's been cooking for about 5 minutes, so it's getting a little bit thicker. We will keep going until it gets thicker than this. We want it pretty thick. Sorry, I'm not a professional YouTuber, so I always think of things I should have mentioned. I am cooking it over medium-high to high heat. Whatever you're comfortable with. You can turn it down once it starts bubbling too. And then just keep cooking until you see it get pretty thick. Okay, so now it's gotten very thick, so I turned the fire off, and now we just add the rice in and mix it up. So again, it's 2.5 cups of rice to 1.5 cups of beans, or like I said, once you get comfortable with it, you can really just eyeball it. I just dump the rice in there, and then we'll just mix it up till everything is mixed. And sorry if this video is a little choppy. It's hard to do kind of one-handed, so I have to stop and, dump the rice in or whatever. So, and then you just mix this up real good until everything's combined, and then it's done. That's all you do. A lot of people recommend to put cold rice in, like let your rice cool down and then mix it. I don't think it really matters. Sometimes I'll make the rice right before I do this and put hot rice in, and it's fine. So, and once it's all mixed up, then you have your gallo pinto. Okay, and there we go. There's our gallo pinto. This is commonly eaten as a side dish with anything. It's really good as a side dish with breakfast, like with eggs and or with any meat or anything. It's delicious with pretty much anything. One of my favorite Central American foods. And that's all. So thanks for watching.